Hey guys, so today we are going to be covering Elvis. My mum was a massive fan. Obviously, he passed away before I was born. I was born in 1981. But yeah, we're going to go over it. I did read a book ages ago by Ginger, his last girlfriend, about his life and everything, and he was so spiritual. He was so into healing and everything. So we're going to go over this today. But in my Instagram group, Tarot London One, we've had some questions from people. So one of them was, who was the love of your life? Okay. Now, I wasn't going to do this reading. I kind of left it and left it, but it kept coming to me and coming to me, and I can't ignore it, so I just got to get it done. So I before I did this, I was thinking, well, letting stuff come to me, seeing if he would come through. What could I pick up from him? And straight away, this really touched me, to be honest. Who was the love of your life? And straight away, it was Lisa. And Lisa was his daughter, I believe. So yeah, Lisa was his daughter, and this is what I got. She was my everything. She still is. She kept the music box too. She plays it now and again. And I think this is to do with when I was a kid, I had these, like in the 80s, you had these little kind of like music boxes where you play music and there's a little ballet dancer when you open it, and she plays music. And it was something like that, a childhood gift he got her. Really like ornate, like gold plated or something, very, very expensive as a gift, a childhood gift. And she still has that. And maybe in a room or somewhere, but she still has that. And when she thinks of him, she plays it now and again. And it's just really sad, to be honest. It's quite emotional. But okay, so the love of his life, Lisa. So I was on about his daughter and how does he feel now? Now, well, I was pretty much asking what the connection was then and how he felt when, the family were back together. And this is actually the family cards. So he was most balanced, he's saying, when she came along. So when she came along, he also had a better partnership with Priscilla. So it was almost like he started to see Priscilla more like an adult. And we're going to go over that in a minute as well, okay? And also his finances were the best he was when he was with that family unit. Things are very, very stable for him. So I really feel, to be honest, that was when he was happiest, when she was born. He really, really tried to get himself together. Now, the other question we had is, do you regret splitting with Priscilla? And this is what I picked up from him. He said no, it was volatile and he made her unhappy. He was under the influence too much. And when I mean influence, I don't mean just drugs like recreational drugs. I mean a lot of drugs for medicating, like from doctors would give him. And I feel he had some severe back issue, and that's what could have started it. But he said he was under the influence too much, not just drugs and medicating, but also the people around him were bullies and made her life hard. He's saying, I couldn't see it at the time, but she could never be heard. They would talk over her or undermine her. I don't know the age gap. I think there was quite a big age gap with them as well, but he's pretty much saying they didn't take her seriously. It was very much a man's world, in that time. And they just talked over her, and she never got a point across. She would try and beg him, like, I feel it on her own, when she got time with him to spend more time with the family and the kids and stuff. But I just feel they kind of overrid everything. And Elvis was definitely a thrill seeker, so at the drop of the hat, he would just take off and fly somewhere. Also, they say that they felt jealous of her when we had our daughter, as they realised she had, like, she had a hold over me that they never would. True family love. So even though we had family members around him, they were in it for the money, a lot of them, okay? And when he had Lisa, it was almost like everything came together for him as a family, because you got the money got better, the partnership between them got better. He had balance in his life for the first time. He was happy with his family. And I feel that they felt they were being pushed out, by the way. They felt they were being pushed out, they were losing their hold over him, and they wanted to get it back. So in a way, they would encourage bad behaviour from me. That's what he says. So, meeting other women, partying, staying out too late. So he says here, they would encourage bad behaviour from me too. And when she had a valid point, they would say she was wrong and I was in the right. So they always backed him no matter what. No matter how badly he behaved, they always backed him. They always had his back, never her. And that's what eventually everything fell apart because of that. And he does say, I should have listened to her more. She ended up having to be almost like a carer to me at some points in my life. It was not the life she thought she would lead. Back then, she was actually a very private person. I tried to thrust her into the spotlight with me. And as a person, he said she's warm, sweet-natured and caring. I have no regrets at all. If anything, I'm glad I left, as then she could find the love she needed in her life. Okay? So he's just the love of his life, this Lisa, which we all know he absolutely adored her, adored her. Now, when we go on to his last partner, which is Ginger, okay, this is what came up about Ginger. She was too young for him in many ways, but he liked to be a father figure to her in a way. And he says maybe because he wasn't seeing his daughter as much, it was like trying to be a good dad all over again and make up for the time he could not get back. Because I don't know, it was 15 years between them, him and Ginger, or 20 years, but there was a massive, massive gap. And in a way, he quite liked being the one that was more experienced and had more knowledge. And definitely that was an ego thing as well. Definitely an ego thing as well. But in a way, he felt like fatherly towards Ginger. And he did want to take care of her and look after her and kind of direct her in her life as well. So that's what I've got for the main women in his life so far. And he does say if he stayed here on Earth, okay, he would have stayed with Ginger, he would have married her, but they would have had problems conceiving as he was not in the best health. And I don't know if they had surrogates back then or how it worked back then. I mean, they did, but I'm not sure how it all worked. But they might have had to go down that route. And also, he also says too much salt caused a lot of his issues. And then I had an image of a shriveled prune, which I thought was really funny, to be honest. So it's almost like his insides were just, oh my God, he was just a wreck. He was a wreck. Okay. Now, the next spread was, okay, what would he have done if he'd stayed on Earth? So I've just put these out now, okay, and turn them over. So he was really, really spiritual, okay, and he actually wanted his own church, almost like a commune, because he was really into healing, massively into healing. He used to do healing himself, okay, and he would offer healing, spiritual healing as well. And I do believe he would have actually almost formed his own church near Graceland. And maybe even built it. I'm getting an image of building something. I don't know if he had a church in Graceland, his own chapel or something, but he was really thinking, you know, like Kanye West is doing now, his own church. Elvis was like, he got there before me. But that's the kind of thing he would be looking into doing if he was still here now, okay? And the funny thing is, I thought personally he was probably going downhill, you know, with his health problems and everything like that. But we actually have here, if he was still here, there would still be a lot of success around him, okay? A lot of money coming in for him as well, okay? With his music, it's almost like, I still think he would do like some tours now and again. He would make so much money, okay? King of Swords is almost like a very wise man, very intellectual. So he would have gone away from the music and started a new project completely, I feel, around here. Ace of Wands is funny because to me that's the creativity card, okay? So a brand new creative project. And again, I feel this is more around spiritual development. But the funny thing about this is it's also a sexual card. It's very phallic, as you can see. And I do feel that he's always saying, I would still have it. I still got it even now. You know what I mean? Because obviously he did. He was stunning. So the joke is he would still have it. And his hair would still be black, I hear, which is really funny, okay? He would, this is the card about juggling in your life, juggling with balance, okay? Now, I still think he would struggle with that because he charges into stuff and doesn't think, and it causes issues. He likes the pretty, fine things in life. I still think he would have been a bit of a ladies' man, womanizer, because he's on about charging in for the pretty things in life, okay? But I do feel this is more Ginger because this is like the marriage card here as well. So he would have carried on with her, charging in for her, I feel. There would have been marriage, but it ultimately would end in heartbreak. And I feel he'd still go through the same cycle of just having people around him talking in his ear, not being independent enough, listening to what others say too much, you know, above anyone else. Almost like godlike, like he felt godlike. His ego was huge, huge. So even though he was into healing and everything and wanted to do all this, in a way it was still almost like an ego thing as well, like I'm God, people would worship me, I have this power. He did have a lot of ego as well, which makes sense. I mean, king of rock and roll, for God's sake. But overall, he still would have made so much money. He wouldn't have had to rely on his music so much. I do feel he would have married Ginger, okay, because this is like the wedding card here, and he would have come charging in and done it. And she's shown of the Nine of Pentacles, which makes sense because it means a really stylish, beautiful, confident woman, okay? And she was a lot younger than him, super stylish, beautiful. I think she was a model as well. But ultimately would have ended in heartbreak. Yeah, I'm just having a look now. Oh, I think it would have been like a messy divorce as well, because we have the Five of Pentacles, which means losing money there, and a lot of anxiety and stress over this. So he does kind of say he would have repeated the same mistakes like he did with Priscilla. But overall, he really wanted to go down the spiritual path, and I think, like Kanye West, create a church for himself. And that's what I'm picking up on this today, guys. And that's everything.